the deadline for the UPS drivers to come to terms with UPS management, I believe, is July 31st. We have been talking about this for at least 6 or 7 months. It may have been as early as like at the end of last year, actually. UPS, the Teamsters, have been on a collision course, forgive the pun, for months over this. Now, we have 180,000 people on strike against the television film business. We have other strikes going on. The Starbucks workers, where was it? Where is it? Louisville. Are striking today with some other coffee folks. There are 10 cafes that were shut down in Louisville with strikes. Not just Starbucks, but another. Could you go back? I don't know what the other name of that. In Sunergos, I don't know what that means.
I guess that must be another
maybe cafe
shop,
thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, and of course there are other strikes that are happening around the country in between. The point being that we have a lot of people on strike, and there's going to be a lot of labor action, I think, in the coming months or so. So here is AOC down in New York, and we should say the head of the Teamsters said to the Biden administration, and it's interesting that they did this early. This is a way to create more pressure on management, because it jams up Biden. If Biden enters in and does so before there's even and has been warned before there's a strike, it puts that much more pressure on Biden. Smart move by the Teamsters to basically say, we're not striking now. So this isn't coming out of nowhere. It's just a way of saying, you stay on your side of the fence, because, and let's be honest, Biden hasn't had the best record of getting involved in these things. We saw it with the rail strike.
Yeah. And this has
Julie Su did go out with the Teamsters. With the Longshore and out in on the West Coast, and help at least resolve it, or I don't know if they actually came to a deal, but that was the last report that I heard. But this is the way the Teamsters are going to flex their muscle. They're going to basically say, sideline the government here and just say, we're going to, and we always hear that libertarians don't like government to pick winners and choosers. Okay, let's put labor up against it, and I should make it clear. Our government does that every day. Every government in the world picks winners and choosers. It's just winners and losers. It's just which one society decides we want to win or lose in that situation. But here's AOC in New York talking to UPS drivers.
My name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm from the Bronx. We're out here in Queens today. And I'm not the only one here from the Bronx. We got Danny Kane and Tommy Oliver from Local 202 out in Hunts Point. We just want you all to know that we have your back. We have your back. And we say we mean this city has your back, this country has your back, everyday people have your back, because you're not just fighting for yourselves. You are fighting to raise the standard for all working people in this country. This is the largest strike authorization in American history. 340,000, sorry, I had a couple extra zeros there. Over 340,000 workers have authorized a strike from UPS. That is an enormous amount. That is the largest strike in American history. Danny and I were just talking. We think this is one of the largest strike authorizations and labor actions in the world going on right now. And when we do that, and when we're going to claim it right now, when we win that, we are going to raise that average, raise that standard for all workers. We cannot accept a dual standard where part-time workers and full-time workers doing the same labor are getting paid dramatically different wages. We can't allow for that. UPS made $16 billion in profit last year alone. $16 billion with a B. That is a level of richness and wealth that we really cannot wrap our minds around. They can afford AC in our trucks. They can afford to pay part-timers equal wage. They can afford to pay people enough to live in New York City and across the country. They can afford to make sure that everybody can feed their babies, clothe their kids, and lead a dignified life for themselves and pay rent in New York City.
I mean, it is helpful, and we've heard this from union people and people who, like, not just longtime union people, but people who've started up unions and more grassroots organizing, that having elected officials out there, out in front, is helpful. And I think AOC probably learned a lesson from what it was that prevented her from being out there with Amazon early in the process. It may have just been scheduling, may have been poor communication, whatever it is. Regardless, she's making sure that's not happening this time. And that's the trajectory that you want with our politicians. And in many ways, I think, we're going to see her picking up the baton from Bernie Sanders, who on the reg would do this kind of thing. And so she's doing this in New York, but this is going to, make no mistake about it, this is going to be a nationwide strike, obviously.
340,000. That's the number. It's a lot of people. This is what the largest private sector contract on the continent. And then Teamsters represent half of that workforce. So that's the reason that's good that O'Brien came out and pressured Biden ahead of time, because the pressure from the people that he's listening to is going to be to weigh in on behalf of management to prevent disruption.
It was a very smart move to get that out of the way early, even before there's a strike. We'll take a break in a second. Someone's writing me on IM. I think SAG-AFTRA said to wait for them to ask for subscription cancellations. Yes. Right. If you head over to sagaftrastrike.org, there is a FAQ there for, influencers and influencers across the board, like professional influencers, I guess, like people like us, maybe. I don't know if we're influencer.
That's how I think of myself.
That's more of but for people who are just like, if you're going to go on social media, they are giving instructions as to what the parameters are that they want to get done now. And one of those is just don't promote any, TV or films. As opposed to starting with the rollback of subscriptions, I think they want to roll that out later. But we will see, and we'll be on top of that.